Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 384, Lord Ashworth, The Reckoning. Intermediate. The trial of Lord Arthur Ashworth was a spectacle. The grand courtroom, usually a stage for legal arguments and sombre pronouncements, was transformed into a theatre of public outrage. The gallery was packed with spectators, journalists, and even a few curious members of Parliament, all eager to witness the downfall of a man who had once wielded immense power. Arthur, stripped of his title and his carefully crafted persona, was the shadow of his former self. The arrogance that had once radiated from him had been replaced by a palpable fear. He sat in the dock, his shoulders slumped, his gaze fixed on the floor, as if trying to disappear from the intense scrutiny. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, meticulously gathered by the tenacious investigative journalist Isabella Diaz and the diligent police investigators. They laid bare Arthur's intricate web of corruption, the offshore accounts, the shell companies, the charitable donations that had lined his pockets, the government contracts that had been steered towards his cronies. Witness after witness took the stand, each testimony painting a damning portrait of Arthur's greed and manipulation. Former business partners, once eager to bask in his reflected glory, now testified about his shady dealings, their voices trembling with a mixture of fear and resentment. Civil servants, who had once turned a blind eye to his activities, now recounted how he had pressured them to bend the rules, to prioritize his interests over the public good. The evidence was overwhelming, irrefutable. Even Arthur's high-priced legal team struggled to mount a credible defense. They argued that he was a victim of a smear campaign, that his actions had been misinterpreted, that he had always acted in the best interests of the country. But their arguments fell flat in the face of the overwhelming evidence. Arthur himself took the stand, a desperate gamble to salvage his reputation. He tried to portray himself as a misunderstood philanthropist, a victim of a political intrigue. He spoke of his dedication to public service, his commitment to his constituents, his unwavering belief in the British way of life. But his words rang hollow. The carefully constructed facade of respectability had crumbled, revealing the corrupt and manipulative man beneath. Isabella Diaz, the journalist whose relentless investigation had brought Arthur to justice, watched the proceedings with a quiet satisfaction. She had faced intimidation, threats, and attempts to discredit her, but she had persevered, driven by a sense of justice and a commitment to exposing the truth. She knew that her work had made a difference, that she held a powerful man accountable for his actions. The jury deliberated for several days, their faces etched with the weight of their decision. The tension in the courtroom was palpable. Finally, the moment arrived. The jury returned, and the foreman, his voice steady, delivered the verdict. "Guilty," he said, one count after another. "Guilty of corruption, guilty of bribery, guilty of money laundering, guilty of abuse of public office." With each word, the weight of Arthur's crimes seemed to settle upon him, crushing him beneath its immense burden. The judge, his face stern, delivered the sentence. A long term of imprisonment. Arthur's reign of influence was over. The velvet rope had finally been pulled away from him. As he was led away in handcuffs, Arthur glanced back at the courtroom, his eyes filled with a mixture of regret and disbelief. He had believed himself to be untouchable, above the law, beyond reproach. But he had been wrong. The truth had caught up with him, and the consequences of his actions had finally come crashing down. The story of Lord Arthur Ashworth served as a cautionary tale, a reminder that no one is above the law, that even the most powerful individuals can be held accountable for their crimes. It was a testament to the power of investigative journalism, the importance of a free press, and the unwavering pursuit of truth. It was a victory for justice, a vindication for the public, and a symbol of hope that even in the darkest corners of power, the light of truth can eventually shine through. Vocabulary notes. Spectacle, meaning a visually striking or dramatic display. Example, the trial of Lord Arthur Ashworth was a spectacle. Explanation. This emphasizes the dramatic and public nature of the trial, drawing attention and becoming a major event. Similar words: show, display, exhibition, performance, event. Palpable, meaning able to be felt or touched. Figuratively, it means easily perceived or obvious. Example, the arrogance had been replaced by a palpable fear. Explanation. This suggests that Arthur's fear was so strong that it was almost tangible, easily noticeable by everyone present. Similar words: tangible, perceptible, noticeable, evident, obvious. Meticulously, meaning showing great attention to detail, very careful and precise. Example, meticulously gathered by the tenacious investigative journalist. Explanation. This highlights the thoroughness and care taken in gathering the evidence against Arthur. Similar words: thoroughly, carefully, precisely, diligently, conscientiously. Crony, meaning a close friend or associate, especially one who is in a position of power or authority and who is willing to use their influence to help their friends, often used in a negative context. Example, government contracts that had been steered towards his cronies. Explanation. This suggests that Arthur used his influence to benefit his friends and associates, often in ways that were not fair or ethical. Similar words: associate, friend, ally, henchman, sycophant, more negative. Irrefutable, meaning impossible to deny or disprove. Example, the evidence was overwhelming, irrefutable. Explanation. This emphasizes the strength and undeniable nature of the evidence against Arthur. Similar words: undeniable, incontrovertible, unarguable, conclusive, definitive. Salvage, meaning to rescue or retrieve something, especially from loss or damage. Example, a desperate gamble to salvage his reputation. Explanation. This suggests that Arthur's testimony was a last-ditch effort to try to repair the damage to his reputation. Similar words: rescue, retrieve, recover, save, preserve. Facade, meaning a deceptive outward appearance. Example, the carefully constructed facade of respectability had crumbled. Explanation. This highlights the fact that Arthur's outward appearance was a mask that hid his true nature. Similar words: pretense, mask, veneer, guise, front. Persevered, meaning to continue steadfastly or firmly in a course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. Example, but she had persevered, driven by a sense of justice. Explanation. This emphasizes Isabella's determination and persistence in her investigation, despite the challenges she faced. Similar words: persisted, endured, persevered, held on, carried on. Palpable, meaning able to be felt or touched. Figuratively, it means easily perceived or obvious. Example, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. Explanation. This suggests that the tension was so thick that it could almost be felt by everyone present. Similar words: tangible, perceptible, noticeable, evident, obvious. Vindication, meaning the action of clearing someone of blame or suspicion. Example, a vindication for the public. Explanation. This suggests that the outcome of the trial cleared the public's sense of injustice and restored their faith in the system. Similar words: exoneration, acquittal, justification, clearing, absolution. Story written by Google Gemini 2.0 AI. CC Music, Drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Hello, this is Steve. If you enjoyed the story, please would you take the time to leave a meaningful comment and click on the like icon. If you want to know when the next story has been uploaded, please click on the notify bell icon to be notified. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tell your English learning friends so they can benefit too. Thank you.